Well, that was certainly an interesting game for the Toronto Maple Leafs. What an amazing start. Beautiful, picture perfect start. You couldn't write it up any better if this was scripted. But from there, things started to go downhill a little bit. The Toronto Maple Leafs come out with a win, but a little too close for the liking of many Leafs fans. The Toronto Maple Leafs earned their 35th win of the regular season at KeyBank Center in downtown Buffalo. And this win for the Leafs, it was far from perfect. After the first period, the Leafs were up 4-0. After the second period, up 5-0. And the final score ends in a 6-3 game. Score a little misleading based off what we saw in the second and third periods. In the first period, the Toronto Maple Leafs outshot the Buffalo Sabres 15-8 and outscored them 4-0. Solid first period. One of the best 20 minutes of hockey I've seen the Leafs play in quite some time. However, Buffalo controlled most of the second and third periods and finished the game outshooting the Leafs 32-29. That's definitely not ideal after the first period the Toronto Maple Leafs put up. That means after the first period, the Sabres outshot the Leafs by a total of 24-14, and in the third period, it was 13-6. That's not good when you have a lead and you're trying to hold on to that lead. You're potentially letting teams come back into it. And Buffalo, they've been decent this season. They're not one of the top teams in the league. If you do that against a top team in the NHL, it might not end the way that you want it to. The Sabres scored 3 third-period goals to make this score more respectable. It was 5-3 until Ryan O'Reilly scored a hat trick with an empty net goal. And you know what? We've nitpicked enough about this game. Let's get to the positives, and majority of them coming in the first period. How about that Ryan O'Reilly, John Tavares, and Mitch Marner connection? That line, they've got a sweet connection, and they look like they have a lot of chemistry out there. Those 3 players controlled the first period. I mean, they had a historic first period. For the first time in Toronto Maple Leafs history, 3 players recorded 3 or more points. That's O'Reilly, Tavares, and Mitch Marner. Wonderful. That's actually a surprising statistic to me, considering how long the Toronto Maple Leafs franchise has been around. But you learn something new every day. And not only did these 3 players score that many points in one period, it was how quickly they struck 3 goals in a span of 3 minutes and 17 seconds. Ryan O'Reilly, and then John Tavares getting on the board for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And a wonderful performance from this line. They controlled the play most of the time they were on the ice, generating plenty of opportunities for the Toronto Maple Leafs to score. Ryan O'Reilly capped off this game with a hat-trick goal on the empty net, and that's the first time he ever had a multi-goal game at KeyBank Center, which is amazing to me because he played for the Buffalo Sabres for a few years. O'Reilly finishes the game with 3 goals and an assist. John Tavares, 1 goal, 3 assists. And then Mitch Marner, 5 assists. That's a career high for him. He's a playmaker doing great things out there for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nice win for the Leafs. However, they need to clean things up going forward. You can't just... It's not sustainable to win games with one solid period of play. It's a 60-minute game with the potential to go longer if it's a tie game. So you need to have a solid 60-minute effort to win a lot of these games. Buffalo isn't one of those top teams in the league. Yes, they're a more respectable squad than they have been in years past, but you're not going to win too many games against teams like the Tampa Bay Lightning or Boston Bruins, who the Maple Leafs will have to play if they want to go far in the playoffs. So they need to clean that up down the stretch. However, it's a nice win. It's a nice win for them to enjoy tonight, and it was just so great to see all the Leafs fans, the Sea of Blue taking over KeyBank Center in Buffalo, as it usually happens. Every single time the Toronto Maple Leafs go to Buffalo, it's quite the festivity, and the game was capped off with that Ryan O'Reilly hat-trick goal. Hats flooding the ice, and to wrap it all up, you hear the Go Leafs Go chants in the building. That's just adding a little salt to the wound for the Sabres and their fan base. So, I mean, enjoyable, but at the same time, nerve-wracking to see the Sabres get close and potentially make this a closer, potentially, make you sit on the edge of your seat a little bit and think about those old times that the Leafs have blown some leads. But the Leafs get the win tonight. They'll be back in action against the Minnesota Wild at home on Friday night. For Maple Leafs Media, I'm Jake Varco.